Alright, so today we will be surviving 1,600 days in hardcore Minecraft. And in this video, I decided I needed to flex just how long I've been working on this world. Usually, I like to do practical projects like automated farms and whatnot, but today that changes. Today, I will be collecting over 40,000 gold ingots and around 5,000 emeralds just to make myself a giant over 100 block tall statue of a totem of undying. This is an absolutely massive project that I know you guys are going to love. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the video. And while you're at it, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications as it really helps out the video. And with that, let's just jump into it. Alright, so this all started when I was flying around my base trying to figure out what to do. And that's when I realized I don't really have anything around my base to flex my wealth that much other than my giant copper statue. But that's only made out of copper. I also have my netherite beacon, which you can't really see that well. That's when I decided, you know what, we need to get a ton of gold for a massive project. I later decided that it was going to be a giant statue of a totem of undying. But the problem is that my gold farm isn't quite as efficient, and I'm going to show you guys why. All of these hoppers right here sort all of my items, but the problem is rotten flesh and swords clog up the entire system, and it creates a huge problem. After only 5 minutes, as you can see, there are items just sitting right here, not being grabbed by any hopper because they're completely clogged with a bunch of random stuff, which is a huge problem because I can't AFK for too long without it breaking and my game potentially crashing. So I decided we needed to fix that, so I towered on up and I just blocked off all of this so I didn't get any piglins in my way, and we are going to create a much better sorting system that the designer of this farm actually created, but I never got around to building. And this is all the supplies that we're going to need to build it. The hardest thing to get is the 94 hoppers, but I mean, I have an iron golem farm, so I have like literally 10 stacks of iron blocks, so I've got plenty of iron. And the rest of the items needed for all of this was pretty simple. It only took me about a day or two, and I got all of the supplies that I needed to complete the sorting system. So the first main thing we were gonna have to do is actually use hopper minecart, and we had to put them in the proper places using pistons. So we just set up some glass here and some dirt to set down the hopper minecarts, press the button, and now the hopper minecart is sitting perfectly on a little small piece of glass. We then break the dirt, get that out of my way, and we shove the hopper minecarts in the corner of the glass just to get them out of the way. Doesn't really matter which direction they're oriented in, they just have to be in the corner of this little bit of glass. We then go around to the other end, we get some more hopper minecarts, we place that one down, shove that in the corner, use grindstones to make sure it's in the proper location because grindstones aren't a full block, so that enables you to fully shove it in that corner. We also get another hopper minecart on the other end. We use the same piston system to shove it in the proper place, break that dirt, go back around to the front end, create a nice little barrier of glass, put down 2 hopper minecarts on the same rail system. We then walk into them so that way they get properly shoved apart. We break the rail and then we shove them forward. Overall, super complicated, but that is exactly how you get it in the proper positions that they need to be in. And the reason why we're using hopper minecarts is actually because they can sort items much faster. So you can see all of these regular hoppers are going to go through these hopper minecarts, which are able to sort through items, I think at like 2 to 3 times the speed of regular hoppers. And this is going to ensure that we don't have any items getting clogged up on the ground, creating a ton of lag. Next, we have to create a kind of complicated system using observers and pistons and stuff. And I don't fully understand how this works. I'm not gonna lie to you. Again, this isn't my farm or my system. I am just copying a tutorial off the internet. We then set down a bunch of droppers and point some hoppers into those. And the point is that these droppers are actually going to drop all of the items down on the ground where they will later be sorted. We also have to create a row of melons here and place a bunch of repeaters and comparators on the melons. I don't know why these need to be melons and not just regular blocks. I honestly don't know, but like I said, I'm just following the tutorial and I'm gonna try and explain this best I can. Basically, the hopper is gonna put an item in the dropper. The comparator is then going to detect through the stone an item is in the dropper, is then going to activate this redstone circuit to shove this observer into the other observer, which is going to activate the dropper to rapidly drop all of the items down, where they will later be sorted in a system that I have yet to build. And the cobwebs are there to slow down all the items dropping, so that way it doesn't get all clogged up. And just to demonstrate, this is how it works. So yeah, maybe you understand, maybe you don't. I personally only somewhat understand, and I'm literally the one that had to sit here and build it. So yeah, it basically just drops items really, really fast. That's really all you need to know at this point. Next, I used Lightmatica to actually figure out where all of these blocks and redstone mechanics needed to be put, because again, it was super complicated. This is actually the second time I'm building this. I built this in a creative world first to get the Lightmatica schematic to help me out actually putting this on my regular hardcore world, because I've said this so many times already, but literally I do not understand most of what I am doing right now. All I know is that it works. That's pretty much it. But basically all this mechanic does is make sure all the items end up on one little spot, and then it gets shoved along some ice and sorted. So yeah, I can't explain it. I'm literally just gonna build it and then show it to you, and I think that'll help you understand what's actually happening. So I put the final little comparators onto my sorting system, and as you can see, there is like gold ingots and nuggets in here. So as a gold ingot or nugget goes past these hoppers, they'll get picked up and sorted. Then all the garbage items we don't want will get thrown into lava. So once it is all done now, again, I can't explain it that easily. Now, after looking at all work, I understand how most of it works, but I actually don't really understand this part. I don't know how this redstone slowly fades away when you break the redstone block, and then it somehow activates this circuit, which does all this. I don't understand this part. Yeah, I'm just gonna show you some footage I captured, so that way hopefully you can understand how this all works. So the piglins drop, we then kill them. They drop all of the items into the hoppers. The hopper minecarts are there to sort them much faster than regular hoppers. They then go through that dropper system that I explained earlier. They get dropped onto this mechanic, which then will shove them all onto one singular block on top of that ender chest. They then get shoved off of that ender chest. The slime block shoves them along the ice. The proper items like nuggets and ingots get picked up by the hoppers, and the items we don't want, like the rotten flesh and swords, get dumped into the lava. So yeah, that's all this basically does. It keeps all of the gold and gets rid of all the stuff we don't want. So all I have to do is use an auto clicker to sit here and just kill a bunch of zombie pigmen, which I did for 1 hour. And right here is all of the gold that I got from sitting here from 1 hour, which is primarily gold nuggets and not so much gold ingots. So yeah, once I turned all of those into gold ingots, I turned them into blocks of gold. And after sitting here AFK for 1 hour killing zombie pigmen, we got basically exactly 5 stacks of gold blocks, which is a pretty good return. I mean, you go AFK for 1 hour killing zombie pigmen and you get 5 stacks of gold blocks. I mean, that's like insane. So I added a few more rows of sorting systems so that way we'd have even more chests to grab gold nuggets, because I wanted to AFK not just for 1 hour, but for an entire night. And I didn't want all the chests to get clogged up, so I added something like 20 more double chests just to make sure that we could AFK for the entire night and the entire thing wouldn't get clogged up. So yeah, now that all of these double chests were built, all was left to do was to AFK, go to sleep, and there you go. I did wake up once in the middle of the night just to save and quit, just in case it crashed. I didn't want to lose all of that progress, so I made sure to save my progress every now and again throughout the night. Then the next morning, I wanted to figure out all of the other blocks that I needed to make my giant totem. And this right here is the full list of supplies I am going to need to make my over 100 block tall totem of undying statue. As you can see, I don't have enough emeralds. I have plenty of iron. I didn't need any of that. Lucky for me, I already have an emerald farm, so that's pretty simple. After AFKing a little bit longer throughout the morning, this is all of the gold I got. I forgot to check how long I was AFKing in total at this farm, but like I said, 1 hour gets you about 5 stacks of gold blocks. So looking at all the gold blocks I have here, I was probably AFKing somewhere around 14 to 15 hours. And from all of that, we now had plenty of gold from our statue. We had all of the iron I needed. Now I just needed 6 stacks of emerald blocks. And for that, we were going to have to sit at our emerald farm, which this is just a raid farm. And obviously when you killed raid villagers, they drop emeralds. So this is the system we're gonna have to use. Once I go through these couple of nether portals, I actually end up at a pillager outpost. Then once you are here, once you kill a pillager with a flag on their head, that gives you the bad omen effect. I then go back to my raid farm and it automatically starts a raid because there is a villager somewhere around here. I forget where I put him. I think he's up top somewhere. I don't really know. Yeah, because there's so much water everywhere, all of these pillagers have to spawn on the ice. Their hitblocks then collide and force each other to fall off the ice and then fall down this little tube here, and I am able to kill them and get a ton of emeralds. Now you can have different level of bad omen effects, all the way from bad omen level 1 to bad omen level 5, and that will affect how powerful your raid is. And I was really curious, which raid actually gives you the most emeralds. And I mean, I did some rough math, and I was probably gonna have to sit at this emerald farm for like 5 hours to get all the emeralds I needed, so I had plenty of time to do some experimenting. I'm not gonna bore you with all of that. I mean, it's super boring. I'm just gonna skip to the end when the experiment is completed and show you my results. So yeah, you're welcome. We're skipping to the end. And so skipping to the end, here are my results. And the way that I did this test is I did 3 raids back to back to back with each Bad Omen level. So basically, I started right here. I went through my nether portal to get my Bad Omen, came back, completed a raid, sorted all of my chests, and then did it 2 more times for a total of 3 raids. So you can see this time right here is how long it took for me to do 3 total raids back to back to back. Our T here is total, so I got 158 total emeralds from the 3 raids, which is an average of 53 emeralds per raid. And then I came up with a metric called EPS, which is emeralds per second. So if you take our total amount of emeralds, 158, and you divide that by how long it took me to do the 3 raids, that gets your value of how many emeralds you are earning every single second. So the higher this number is, the more efficient it is. So looking at all of these signs, as you can see, Bad Omen 2 and Bad Omen 3 are the 2 most efficient Bad Omen levels to get the most amount of emeralds possible. So yeah, if you don't fully understand how my metric works, really all you need to understand, Bad Omen 2 and Bad Omen 3 are the best Bad Omen levels to get you the most amount of emeralds as fast as possible, and Bad Omen 4 and 5 are like literally bad. Now I looked at Bad Omen 3 and I actually got like 20 to 30 more emeralds with this Bad Omen level compared to every other level. And I was wondering if this was a fluke, because as you can see with all the other levels, I got around 200 emeralds. So I decided to literally redo the entire process again with Bad Omen 2 and 3 to see which was truly more efficient. So skip to the end like 30 minutes later, and as you can see, these are the original results, these are my new results, and I still got way more emeralds with Bad Omen 3 compared to the first time. So yeah, I guess Bad Omen 3 is just that much better. As you can see, the emeralds per second ratio are very, very close between Bad Omens level 2 and 3. So neither is really that much more efficient than the other, but Bad Omen 3 is just very slightly the best option to go with. Yeah, I'm done nerding out on you guys with a bunch of facts and statistics and all of that. As you can see throughout all of this, we actually got half the amount of emerald blocks we needed. All we need is 3 more stacks. So it was probably going to take me a couple more hours. So I sat at this thing using Bad Omen 3 because, again, I figured out that's the best. And we did this for a couple more hours until finally it came down to the final raid. So going through this final raid a couple of hours later, this was going to give me the very last bit of emeralds that I was going to need to make my giant totem of undying statue. So I collected those, turned those into emerald blocks, and there you go. We now have over 6 stacks of emerald blocks. Absolutely insane. Way more than I thought I would ever have in my entire life, but here we are. I now have all of the gold, all of the emeralds, and all of the iron that I need. All that is left is to get a ton of orange terracotta. I originally didn't want to use orange terracotta. I wanted this entire statue to be made out of the majority gold as possible, but it looked really bad without the outlining of something darker than gold. So I made sure to use the majority of gold possible with as little terracotta as possible. Just that way it looked good, but it was mostly made out of gold. Finding the terracotta was really slow and annoying, so I quickly went back to my base to grab a beacon to get myself some haste too at the Badlands here. I went ahead and flexed on you guys just by making a gold beacon because I had way more gold than I needed. Then I just cut through all of that terracotta like butter. Only took me about a day and a half to get all that I needed. Once I was done, I flew back up to my beacon, went ahead and grabbed that, and in all honesty, I didn't feel like sitting here for like 2 minutes to mine all of these gold blocks away, so I decided, you know what, heck with it. I am rich and I want to flex on you guys, so I just left the gold beacon there. I don't care. There's like over 2 stacks of gold blocks there. I don't care. I don't need it. I can get 2 stacks of gold blocks by sitting AFK at my piglin farm for like 5 minutes, okay? I don't even care. Once I got back home, I needed to dye all of the regular colored terracotta to orange, which is pretty simple. All you have to do is fly out to a flower forest and get myself a bunch of properly colored flowers to get orange dye, and then you just dye all of the regular colored terracotta into orange. So yeah, didn't take that long at all. Once that was done, we were finally ready to build my statue. I decided I wanted to place it on this part of my base, but my giant map wall was in the way, so I had to move it. and I decided to move my map wall to a giant wall of gold, because again, I need to flex on you guys that I am rich, and I have literally an insane amount of gold. So moving it is pretty simple. You just break one map at a time, making sure they don't get out of order. You then move them over to the new wall, and it's that simple. Took me a few minutes. Once that was done, we now had all of the space we needed to make this giant statue. And again, I had to place it really far back because this thing is going to be super tall. It's going to end up being like this tall right here, okay? It is going to be massive, and I needed plenty of room to get this thing built. Right here, as you can see, this sped up footage, that is just me building how tall it is going to be to give you guys a proper visual. I think the actual height of this thing is 112 blocks. I now have to fill all of this in with primarily gold blocks. It's gonna take me a while. Like I said, it took me about an hour. So let's go ahead and start that time-lapse footage, and you guys can enjoy several days of work all finally coming together to build this massive statue. There you go. Like I said, I wanted this thing to be primarily made out of gold just to flex my absolute wealth on you guys. So I used as little orange terracotta as possible. I wanted it to still look good, which is why I used the terracotta, but I wanted it to be primarily out of gold. There you go. I think this properly flexes just how rich I am. I mean, there's literally over 40,000 gold you are looking at right now, and over like 5,000 emeralds. If that doesn't flex just how rich I am, especially right next to my giant copper statue, honestly, I don't know what does. I mean, this thing is so huge, it blocks out the sun. It is massive, and I am absolutely in love with this huge thing. It is so fantastic, and honestly, I had so much fun doing this. Usually, I spend so much of my time building, you know, automated farms and practical things that I don't usually take the time to actually just build stupidly massive, insane projects for no purpose other than it's stupidly massive and fun. So to cap this off, I grabbed Pongo, my horse, and Mrs. Nesbit, the rare blue axolotl, took them up to the mountain to watch the final sunset in this video. Except Mrs. Nesbit was more interested in something else. As you can see, she's looking in the other way. I think clearly she's more interested in the giant gold totem statue. I mean, who wouldn't be? That's definitely far more interesting than a boring old sun. As the sun set, I went ahead and made our way back home to our massive mansion, said hello to our giant netherite beacon that took me like 1,000 hours to build, went upstairs, set Mrs. Nesbit down, said goodnight to Pongo, and we went to sleep. And that brings our video to an end. And I want you guys to actually let me know down in the comments, do you want to see me do more absolutely massive projects like this, which don't really serve a purpose other than like just being fun? Or do you prefer to watch me actually build things like automated farms and stuff like that? Let me know. I'm really curious what you guys prefer. And with that, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you do, please be sure to hit the like button, subscribe, let me know down in the comments what you prefer, and I will see you guys in the next one.